Yes, you can. A podcast for high achievers. Hi, I'm Tammy North. I'm the owner of the Genuine Driven Women brand of businesses. The goal of this podcast is to help you become the best that you can be. Don't ever doubt the power you have to make the world a better place. Yes, you can make a difference. Today's podcast is brought to you by the 30-Day Executive Presence at Home Challenge. The world needs your gifts now more than ever. Do you want your own executive coach? Well, then I have a treat for you. All you have to do is 30 small challenges while you're hanging out at home, and they will propel you into the future. I've designed each one of these challenges specifically for you to get you ready to take that next big step. No matter if it's a promotion you're looking for, a new passion position, maybe you are in the market for a new opportunity, a new job, or maybe you're starting a completely new career. You'll receive one challenge every day that's jam-packed with easy-to-do step-by-step instructions. You'll get the first one starting today. All you have to do is scroll down into the show notes. You'll find a link there, one quick sign up, and you'll get the first one in your inbox. I've already gotten a ton of feedback, and I can tell you, day 5 is a fan favorite. There's never been a more important time to bring your special gifts to the world. You are a leader, and it is your time to shine. The world needs you to be ready. Are you in? Again, you'll find a link to the 30-day challenge down in the show notes. Now let's get on with our show. What do you think about when you hear the word etiquette? Maybe thoughts of a fancy 18th century lady. She's the wife of a large landowner and she's invited all the other rich ladies over for afternoon tea. You imagine too many little tiny pearl buttons, gloves, lace, and so much over politeness. Then you flash to the time your mom sent you to an etiquette class in elementary school. You spent way too much time sitting still, folding napkins on your lap, and worrying about which oddly shaped knife you're allowed to use to put the butter on your roll. When I made the transition from enlisted sailor to United States naval officer, part of that transition included an entire week of etiquette training. That training culminated in a dining in, which is a formal military dinner. According to the Naval History and Heritage Command, the dining in as a military tradition has its roots in the shadow of antiquity. The pre-Christ Roman legions probably began the dining in tradition. Roman military commanders frequently held great banquets to honor individuals in units, and these gatherings were victory celebrations during which past feats were remembered and the booty of recent conquests were paraded. The tiny, well-cultured lady who taught us etiquette took her role very seriously. I can picture her now. She was nearly 100 years old, and there she was explaining to us how to properly tip our bowls to get that last spoonful of soup. She is the vision that my mind goes to when somebody mentions etiquette. Etiquette may sound old-fashioned, but it's really just a set of guidelines to help you navigate polite society. Today we're going to discuss 5 business-focused etiquette tips. The first rule is you need to remember the names of people you meet. Have you ever met somebody and then you've seen them weeks later, and when they came up to you, they said your name as they shook your hand, even though you only met them one time and it's been maybe almost a month since the last time you saw them? Well, how did that make you feel? If you're like me, you may have been genuinely, pleasantly surprised. It's simply delightful when somebody else remembers your name. Did you remember their name? In a similar vein, when you reply to an email where somebody spells their name a certain way, for instance, my name is spelled Tammy, I spell it T-A-M-I, but many people spell it T-A-M-M-Y, and there's other variations, T-A-M-M-I-E and others. So if somebody spells their name a certain way when they send you an email, when you click reply, spell it the same way they did. That's a very simple thing to do, especially when it's already spelled there right in front of your own eyes, and it shows that you care. It shows that you're paying attention to details. Here's some tips that you can practice to get better at remembering people's names. First, you have to actually pay attention when somebody introduces themselves. I mean, really listen to their name. And if you happen to miss it, sometimes people say their name very quickly. So if you happen to miss it or you didn't hear it clearly, just politely ask them to repeat it. That shows that you actually care what their name is and that you're taking time to understand what they said. They won't mind repeating it at all. Once you understood them, then make sure to repeat it back back to them, "Oh, it's very nice to meet you, Shelley." Just that simple act of repeating it back to them will begin the process of remembering it for good. Try to look at them when you say their name and find something about them that stands out, something that you can associate with their name. For somebody named Shelley, maybe their eyes or their glasses or their smile remind you of a seashell, something beautiful you've seen in the past. Picture an actual seashell in place of their eyes or their mouth or their ears. If this makes you laugh inside or if it seems really silly, that's even better. It's more likely you will remember it next time you see her. I try to write down the name of the person I meet or add their contact info to my phone as soon as I possibly can afterwards. And there's a note section in your phone for each contact, and I use that note section for all kinds of things. Maybe I want to remember where I met them, how I met them. Maybe I want to remember how I plan on meeting them, like, oh, I picture seashells in their ears. Where do they work? Did they say they had kids, a dog, they like fast cars? I don't know, whatever thing that they said about themselves. Write down a few notes when you enter their contact information, and next time you meet them, or if you know you're going to meet them ahead of time, review your notes, and little by little you'll start to remember all of these details about that person, which will help you to have more interesting conversations with them, and it will show them that you really care. If you really want to remember their name, remind yourself at the end of the day who you met that day and what their name was, and then do this again at the end of the week. Just remember everybody you met in the past week. Eventually you'll get into a habit of these things and you'll start remembering names more often. Okay, for the second rule, when you walk into a room, greet everybody in the room, even if it's just a smile or a small wave across the room to say hi to some people that you already know. And make sure you introduce yourself to the people you don't know. I'm an introvert, so this was hard for me at first, but now I realize that everybody in the room wants to meet other people, and they probably feel just as introverted as you do. Meeting new people is hard for so many, so if you make the first gesture and begin introducing yourselves to other people that you haven't met, they will be very glad you did. Also, take the time to smile or say hello to others you know throughout the entire room, and these actions will put others at ease. And this is one of those people might forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel types of moments. For the third rule, always be on time. Being on time is important for so many reasons. The primary reason is that it's a huge sign of respect. It mostly shows on the negative side when you're late. And when you're late due to your own actions, it's a huge sign of disrespect. So if you want to be seen as dependable and as an example to others and has someone who has it all under control, then be an excellent steward of your time. Here's some good tips that'll help. One is don't make a commitment that you can't keep. It's best to say no right up front. So if somebody tries to schedule a meeting with you, or if somebody wants you to work on a project or they want you to do some activity and you know in your heart that you can't do it, we've talked about this on other podcasts, say no right up front and practice ways of saying no so that you don't promise to do something that you know in your heart you will not do. Next, manage your calendar like your time is gold, because it is. Make sure you add in your calendar space to travel, drive, or walk between all your meeting locations. If you've seen busy executive calendars, they will have this time for the meeting. They will have all the information for the meeting, the location, if it's a telephone call, etc. That'll all be inside of the body of the invitation. There will also be space actually scheduled on the calendar that says drive time or transit time or something like that. And then also create morning start and evening stop routines to book in your days. This includes both in the morning at your own house, when you're trying to get out of the door, you need a routine for that. Then when you get to work, when you start working, you need a routine for that. And then a routine when you're going to stop working, and a routine at the very end of your day that is your end of day routine, getting ready for bed type of routine. If you include those 4 types of routines into your day, you'll be amazed at how dependable you become. Of course, you have to not only create those routines, but make those routines actual habits in your day. When you're going through your start work and stop work routines, include reviews of upcoming meetings for the day as part of these routines, and print out any read ahead materials for meetings that are upcoming either the next day or the following day, and review actions that you should complete prior to these events, 1 to 2 days ahead of time. And then make sure on your calendar you schedule time for deep work. This is time to get your thoughts straight and to make sure you have big projects completed, or the time to complete some of these actions that you've been assigned. If you take time to manage your calendar like this and plan in realistic transit time and other events, you will find that you become a person who is on time. You can do this. In my past, a long time ago, I used to be a person who had a hard time with that. But these types of changes right here, especially the routines and then planning in transit time and not making commitments that I couldn't keep, those actions really got my time in control. Okay, the fourth business etiquette rule is that you need to learn to graciously change the subject. So to be somebody who is executive material, you can't allow yourself to be dragged down into the muck. Every day you're going to overhear a conversation. It might be a really juicy one that you are so tempted to jump into. You feel the exact same way about that department head that everybody else is gossiping about. In fact, you have two really good stories you would love to share, but that is not who you are. When someone pulls you into these conversations, do not take the bait. You need to rise above. Practice gently changing the subject to something more positive. You don't have to change it back to full-on work, but at least shift it to something more positive or interesting, transition it in a good way, and stop the gossip. Learning to change the topic will come in handy at other times too. For instance, when someone tries to get you to talk about proprietary information or other official topics that you cannot or should not discuss. This skill will save your bacon over and over. And the fifth rule is to acknowledge others. Always take the time to be thankful and do it in all kinds of ways. Some examples could be written notes to colleagues or associates who've gone above and beyond. Verbal thank yous are always welcome, especially when they're genuine. Hand them out freely. And make sure when you're a leader, submit your team for awards and bonuses. You did not get to where you are without somebody else recognizing you. This is your time to pay it forward, and it's time to help others succeed as well. If you incorporate these 5 business rules into your day-to-day life, they will dramatically change the way you come across to others. These rules are so important, and I know you might be driving or multitasking, but I really want you to remember them. So I created a little cheat sheet to help you keep these rules along with the key tips for each one front of mind. I recommend printing out this cheat sheet maybe at a 50% size and tape it inside of your planner so you'll see it every day until it becomes second nature and you have all 5 of these rules incorporated into your daily action. You can grab the cheat sheet by going down to the show notes and you'll see a link of where you can get it there. Go ahead and grab it before you forget. I want to celebrate your wins. You'll find my contact information below in the show notes and let me know via email or in the Genuine Driven Women Facebook page if there's other business or personal etiquette rules that you think others should follow more often. Do you have a pet peeve with any of these or things that people don't do? Let me know if I left your favorite tip out. So what does all this have to do with executive presence? A person with executive presence will have a certain level of class, that bit of something special, and it'll radiate from them. The 5 etiquette tips we talked about today will allow you to shine just a little brighter. People will remember you because of how wonderful they feel when you are around. You know exactly what I'm talking about because you've been around other leaders when they made you feel just that special. So don't forget, go down to the show notes and grab your cheat sheet before you click off this episode. Thank you for listening. You can connect with us on Facebook at Genuine Driven Women, or to learn more about what we offer, check out genuinedrivenwomen.com.